Imagine if I told you that Princess Diana, the People's Princess, may have known dark secrets about Prince Andrew years before the world discovered his connection to Jeffrey Epstein. What if she witnessed behavior, overheard conversations, or even tried to warn people about what she saw? This isn't just speculation. There are breadcrumbs of evidence suggesting Diana was aware of Andrew's problematic associations long before they became public scandals. And some believe that her knowledge of these secrets may have put her in a dangerous position within the royal family. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear will completely change how you view both Diana's tragic death and the royal family's most protected secrets. Before we dive deeper into this shocking revelation, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. We're uncovering royal secrets that mainstream media won't touch. Give this video a thumbs up if you're ready for the truth, and let me know in the comments what you think really happened to Diana. Your engagement helps us continue exposing these buried stories to understand what Diana might have known about Andrew. We need to examine the timeline carefully. Diana married into the royal family in 1981, giving her nearly 16 years of insider access before her death in 1997. During this time, she would have attended countless family gatherings, private dinners, and royal events where Andrew was present. She was known for her sharp intelligence and keen observation skills, qualities that made her both beloved by the public and feared by those with secrets to hide. Jeffrey Epstein told journalist Michael Wolff he escorted Princess Diana on occasion, according to a new book. But this revelation only came to light in 2021, decades after Diana's death. The timing is suspicious, isn't it? Why would Epstein wait so long to boast about his connection to Diana? And more importantly, what was the nature of these occasions? We know that Epstein was already building his network of powerful connections. By the 1980s and 1990s, the exact period when Diana was most active in royal circles, the relationship between Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein wasn't a casual acquaintance. It was a deep, long-lasting friendship that spanned decades. They met through Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's alleged procurer, who moved in the same elite British social circles as the royals. Diana, being part of this world, would have inevitably crossed paths with both Maxwell and Epstein at various social functions. Given her position and her known ability to read people, it's entirely plausible that she recognized something troubling about these connections. What makes this even more intriguing is Diana's character. She wasn't someone who stayed silent about injustice, especially when it involved the vulnerable. Her humanitarian work with landmine victims, AIDS patients, and homeless individuals showed her commitment to protecting those who couldn't protect themselves. If she had witnessed or suspected Andrew's involvement with inappropriate behavior, particularly involving young people, would she have stayed quiet? Her track record suggests otherwise. Consider this: Diana's marriage to Charles was already strained by the mid-1990s, and she was becoming increasingly isolated within the royal family. She had begun giving explosive interviews, including the famous Panorama interview in 1995, where she revealed intimate details about her marriage and the royal family's treatment of her. She was clearly prepared to expose uncomfortable truths about the Windsors if she knew about Andrew's connections to Epstein and what that might entail. This knowledge could have been her ultimate weapon against the family that had rejected her. But here's where it gets truly disturbing. Jeffrey Epstein called Prince Andrew a useful idiot. A new bombshell book alleges this wasn't just a friendship. Epstein was using Andrew, and possibly using his royal connections for his own dark purposes. If Diana was aware of this manipulation, she would have understood the implications not just for Andrew, but for the entire monarchy. The thought of the royal family being compromised by a sexual predator would have horrified her, especially given her protective instincts towards her own sons, William and Harry. There's another layer to consider. Diana's famous intuition about people. Friends and staff consistently described her ability to see through facades and identify people's true intentions. She famously distrusted many of the royal family's associates and wasn't shy about expressing her concerns. If she had met Epstein or observed his interactions with Andrew, her maternal instincts and protective nature would have been on high alert. The timing of Diana's death becomes even more suspicious when viewed through this lens. By 1997, she was no longer bound by the same royal protocols that had previously silenced her. Her divorce from Charles was finalized, and she was beginning to speak more freely about her experiences within the royal family. She had already demonstrated her willingness to expose uncomfortable truths through her interviews and public statements. If she possessed knowledge about Andrew's associations with Epstein, 1997 might have been the year she decided to reveal everything. What's particularly haunting is the possibility that Diana tried to warn people about what she knew. She was known to confide in close friends about her fears and concerns regarding the royal family. Several of her friends reported that she seemed increasingly anxious about her safety in the months leading up to her death. She allegedly told multiple people that she feared for her life and believed there were those within the establishment who wanted her silenced permanently. The royal family's reaction to the Epstein scandal decades later provides another piece of this puzzle. When the allegations against Andrew finally became public, the palace's response was swift and decisive. They immediately distanced themselves from him and eventually stripped him of his royal duties. This suggests they were fully aware of how damaging these associations could be to the monarchy. If they knew this in the 2010s, is it possible they also knew it in the 1990s? And if Diana was threatening to expose this knowledge, what lengths might they have gone to protect themselves? Let's examine the evidence that's been suppressed or ignored over the years. Diana's closest confidants, including her butler Paul Burrell, have hinted at secrets that were never fully revealed. Burrell famously claimed that Diana left him a letter predicting her own death, specifically mentioning that someone was planning to tamper with her car, while skeptics dismissed this as attention-seeking behavior. What if Diana's fears were based on concrete knowledge about the royal family's most dangerous secrets? The French investigation into Diana's death raised numerous questions that were never satisfactorily answered. The delay in reaching the hospital, the mysterious white car that was never found, the driver's blood alcohol levels that seemed inconsistent with witness accounts. All of these details take on new significance when considered alongside the possibility that Diana possessed information that could have destroyed the monarchy. We also need to consider the broader context of power and privilege in British society during the 1990s. This was an era when powerful men could abuse their positions with relative impunity, protected by networks of influence and mutual protection. Epstein was already building his empire of compromise and blackmail, using his connections to powerful figures to shield himself from consequences. If Andrew was already entangled in this web by the 1990s, and if Diana knew about it, she would have represented an existential threat to multiple powerful interests. The media's treatment of Diana during her lifetime and after her death also raises questions. While she was often portrayed as unstable or paranoid, particularly in her final years, what if her apparent paranoia was actually justified? What if her fears about being watched, followed, and plotted against were based on real threats stemming from her knowledge of compromising information about the royal family? Another crucial element to consider is Diana's relationship with her sons. She was fiercely protective of William and Harry and deeply concerned about their future within the royal family. If she knew that Andrew posed a potential threat or embarrassment to the monarchy that her sons would one day inherit, this would have added another dimension to her motivations for potentially exposing the truth. The technology and communication methods available in the 1990s also play a role in this story. Diana was known to be careful about her phone calls and communications, often suspicious that she was being monitored. If she possessed sensitive information about Andrew and Epstein, she would have been acutely aware of the need to protect this knowledge. This might explain why any evidence of her knowledge has never surfaced. She may have been too careful, or it may have been systematically destroyed after her death. Looking at the aftermath of Diana's death, there's a pattern of information being sealed, witnesses being silenced, and investigations being curtailed. The official inquests and investigations focused primarily on the circumstances of the crash itself. But what if they should have been looking at the broader context of what Diana knew and who might have wanted that knowledge suppressed? The emergence of the Epstein scandal in the 2010s provides a retrospective lens through which to view Diana's story. When we see how extensive Epstein's network was, how many powerful figures were compromised, and how long the abuse continued unchecked, it becomes easier to believe that similar patterns existed in the 1990s. Diana, with her position, intelligence, and moral compass, would have been uniquely positioned to recognize and potentially expose these patterns. What makes this theory particularly compelling is how it explains some of the inconsistencies and unanswered questions surrounding Diana's death. Why was someone so beloved by the public and so careful about her safety killed in such a seemingly random accident? Why were the investigations so limited in scope? Why have so many documents related to her death been sealed for decades? If Diana possessed information that could have brought down not just Andrew, but potentially other powerful figures connected to Epstein's network, these questions begin to have answers. The truth about what Princess Diana knew may never be fully revealed, but the evidence suggests that her knowledge of Andrew's associations and the dangers they posed to the monarchy may have been far more extensive than anyone has previously acknowledged. Her death didn't just rob the world of a beloved humanitarian, it may have silenced the one person who could have exposed decades of abuse and corruption at the highest levels of British society. As we continue to uncover the truth about Epstein's network and the powerful figures who enabled his crimes, we must remember that Princess Diana may have been the first to recognize the danger, and the first to pay the ultimate price for that knowledge. The real tragedy isn't just that Diana died too young, it's that her death may have allowed some of history's most dangerous predators to continue operating in the shadows for decades longer than they should have. The secrets she took to her grave may have protected the very people who needed to be exposed the most.